good evening, and in fact, good morning to some people around in Australia as well. It's crazy early for them. But for those of you specifically in the UK, I just want to wish you a wonderful evening. And I hope I can give you a really exciting time. We did this webinar for Australia about 10, 12 hours ago. And it was fascinating because what I want to do is, obviously I need to explain the listing process of the Dacxi coin. And in reality, I could probably share that with you in an email. The reason why we're doing this in a webinar form is the fact that this whole area of listing of cryptocurrencies and especially as it relates to us is it's a very unusual process. And I find that people, even those who consider themselves to be very knowledgeable on crypto, have no idea about how it works. And when you understand it, you'll understand the strategies that we're using, because we're not like a normal crypto company that just has an idea, they raise some money and they throw their coin on exchange, because frankly, that's not how you succeed in this world. And so what I want to do is to take more of your time than you would normally have with this sort of a session like this, because I really want to show you how it works. And I don't know whether you bought Dacxi coins in 2017. I know that there are guys on it that literally have held coins since 2017 or 18 or 19 or 20 or 21. And I don't know whether you may be watching a recording because someone says, hey, look, you really need to have a look at this. But wherever you are and whatever level you are, we welcome you. And hopefully we can give you the sort of information. And that's the key thing about this webinar. It's not a meeting. Unfortunately, you can't sort of, ask questions as we're going along, because I really need to deliver this information in a way that makes sense. And I think I'll answer a lot of the questions as we go through the session. And it is recorded. And I do want even those people that are watching this live to make sure that you get your questions answered. And it may mean that you need to re-watch this webinar. And I feel for you having to listen to me twice. But the point is that the potential of what we're talking about is so significant for your wealth, but also your understanding of this whole area. And tonight, I'm also going to launch and explain a new development within Dacxi that we have kept in our back pocket literally for years, because we're just waiting for the right time to announce it. It actually will be by far the primary driver of the value of this coin. And what it will do is, when you understand it, you will appreciate why us coming up to the listing process is not actually a finish. Like, I get people talking to me and they say, oh, I can't wait till the coin is listed. And I just want you to understand that that is not some finish line. It's actually the start line and the value creation. So if you own coins, the key thing is to understand that the listing is not when you start liquidating coins. It is not the smart time to do it. And hopefully by me explaining the sort of strategic side of it, you'll be able to really gain the confidence to be able to do that effectively, to understand how things go. And yeah, look, I hopefully you will leave this webinar really excited that you were smart enough and lucky enough to come in and get involved, or actually see our world, because we believe that by the end of this thing that you're really going to be interested in what we're doing. Now, I need to go through slides, okay? And I apologize for I want to provide that detail. So I want you to just sort of strap in, listen to what I'm saying. I'll move through them as fast as possible. I know it's Sunday evening, and you guys have been locked down for so long. I'm not sure how long your attention span is. But as I said, this information is really, really important, and And when you understand it, you'll truly be able to get excited about what we're doing. You'll see it as a fundamentally new area of wealth creation. And I'm going to give you a picture on this whole area that literally will be trillions of pounds worth of value. So, okay, so let me now share some slides with you and let's get into it. Now, can you just confirm, Gareth and Catherine, that you can see that okay? Okay, you can. Okay, look, that's fantastic. As I said, so the primary message today is we want to explain what is the listing process of the Dacxi coin. As with all things financial, I need to have a disclaimer because it's very important you understand that I'm not giving any financial advice. It's up to you to make the right decisions. If you're not quite sure, you take independent advice. As an organization, that's important for us. We want people to go into this area with their eyes open. The only thing we say is that if you're going to take advice from someone, make sure they understand the crypto market first. Okay, because the challenge with this area is that if you don't understand it, you just naturally will go, no, it's a silly thing to do. And as we know with the prices of crypto these days, that people kick themselves because they listen to negative people or people that don't understand the space. But make sure you understand that you need to get the right advice. Our focus is to create a global top 50 crypto. Okay, so what I mean by that is that there is actually, as of today, 8,708 listed cryptocurrencies in the world. 8,708 that are listed on exchanges around the world, and our goal is to get the Dacxi coin in the top 50. Now, we know that that's a very big goal, but we believe that after this discussion, you will understand why we are so confident about that. And the key story about that is you've got to have a very clear niche that has the potential, and you as a company has all those factors, the timing, the team, the strategy, the business model, to be able to dominate that space. And we have worked for over 3 years to be able to do this. And that's why today we're going to talk about things that we've never talked about, because it's time for us to reveal what we've been working on. And we've kept it pretty quiet. For some reason, and some reasons are just simply we don't want to tell competitors what we're doing. Okay, so when we look at our business model, we have these exchange platforms and communities, and at the heart is our Dacxi coin. Our coin has very specific uses that we use now, and then we use next year, and we use in 5 years' time. It is a very important part of our ecosystem. And I say that because so often you get people go, oh, these cryptos, they're not worth anything. They have no importance. For us, it's absolutely critical. And when we show our business, we often show it with the Dacxi coin right at our heart. But I want you to understand that is not our heart, okay? The heart of our business is people, okay? Maybe not so weird as that, all right? But the fact is they're people. And these are Dacxi people, Dacxi nations, Dacxians. People are the thing that makes us tick. And really, that's the evolution of technology. What happens for developments like the crypto blockchain tokenization space, you start in technology, but the winning companies are the ones that then relate that technology to the people. And maybe that's why the Amazons and the Facebooks of the world have been so successful, because they are so good at really capturing that technology and relating it to people such that you solve problems and create opportunities that inspires people to be involved with this business. And when I first saw this market and was looking at what really Dacxi should stand for, I did something which, at the time, which was unusual, because I started with the people first. And that's why we're different than everyone else. It's why our customer base is focused on wealth and not some sort of gambling like everyone else does in crypto. It's why we provide the level of education and support. It's why, as far as our wealth niche, we focus on people that are over 40, when the whole crypto industry, like all these digital banks, they focus on young millennials. Because, you know, the older people have more money. They actually control 95% of the wealth of the world. And it makes Dacxi weird. We expect a whole lot of people to copy us. And the key thing I want you to understand is that they have to follow us. And they're quite a way behind us. And that's why I'm excited about where we are today. But we're here to really understand, as an organization, we're here to help people build their prosperity. And because this area is so new, because it's changing, I'm going to talk about the next step in the industry after Bitcoin, okay? Right, because that's when the really big money is going to be made and created in this industry. And to do that, you need a partner to help. What we need to do now is we need to appreciate that this is a very different form of listing. A traditional listing is a very very simple process, as I said before. People get an idea, they list it, but for us, it's actually different. And we find people fundamentally don't understand how this whole process works. As I said, they get an idea, they create a coin, they raise money, which is through what's known as an ICO, and then they throw the coin on an exchange, and in 98% of times that coin becomes illiquid because it doesn't create the fundamental demand. The strategy that they've used for listing actually, creates that, and it's not an unusual thing. When you think of the new coins that are actually the new shares that are listed, the small time shares that are listed. I know from my experience in the UK, I've listed 2 companies on the entrepreneurial exchange on what used to be called the OFX or the Plus or the Next. They just are low capitalization stocks, and they don't have the support. And it's obviously critical for us at Dacxi to ensure that we don't have that issue. Okay. We need to make sure that whatever we do is supported and effective. Now, so our goal is to become a global top 50 crypto. And this means that we become part of what I call the Coin Market Cap 100. So let's understand how we're going to do that. And the way I've split this webinar up is that I want to explain how do you get to become a global top 50. And there are things that we didn't understand until we really did our research. Then what I want to go through is why our coin deserves to be top 50, okay? And lastly, what is the actual listing process itself? So how do we get on the top 50? Well, with any assets, liquidity is everything. So liquidity is the volume of buying and selling. And so if you own Dacxi coin, obviously you want to ensure that there are lots of buyers if you are sitting there wanting to sell. And if you actually get liquidity behind your asset, that's also the thing that drives the price. So we need to do our research to really understand, where does the big volume come from? The big trading volume, where does that liquidity come from? So we, as a really good example, for those of you that don't know the crypto market very well, there are actually 3 major sites where all of the data that comes from all the exchanges on all the coins, and they're called Coin Market Cap, CoinGecko, and a Chinese site that I have no idea how to say the name. Okay, and we focus on this one called Coin Market Cap because actually it has about 4 times more visitors, and so it's very, very quickly becoming the standard. And so if you go onto Coin Market Cap, as I hope you will do after this, if you've never been on it, and you will see on this main page, you'll actually see that image. It shows the coins and it ranks them by size as far as the market capitalization. Obviously, Bitcoin's the number 1, Ethereum is number 2. And the critical thing that I want you to see is, can you see that box which says volume? You see that box that says volume? And what that is the turnover, the amount of trading in each of those coins on all the exchanges. And so if you look to find where that comes from, if you click open one of those coins, push the button that says markets, it'll show the trading on the different exchanges, okay, and the volume that was produced in that pair. So you can see Binance, which is the world's largest crypto exchange. This one is for Litecoin, which is in the Dacxi Blue Chip bundle. And you see that in that 24-hour period, they turned over $304 million of volume. And so you can imagine all of that adding up, and therefore you see why coins like Litecoin have literally billions and billions and billions of dollars, because everything's in this side is in US dollars. So everything, billions of dollars, and that supports the pricing of that asset. Now, the key thing to understand is that the vast majority, and I mean the vast majority of turnover on exchanges is actually by traders. So that's different from Dacxi people who are buying and holding. Okay, they're not traders. They don't need all these graphs, and they're not going in and out of coins. And that's where the real volume and liquidity comes from. And I specifically showed you here an Asian site. This is a Korean one, because I want you to understand that whilst we're talking about crypto traders, the vast majority of them are actually Asian. And so it's a very, very different marketplace. If you want your coin to have the liquidity, which will give it the pricing, which will make it sure that it's on this sort of first page of CoinMarketCap, as a company, we need to ensure that we communicate and we're listening and we're talking to that organization, those Asian traders, because they are literally the key. So the first lesson I want you to take out of this is that the liquidity for all crypto coins come from trading exchanges. The second thing I want you to understand is that all exchanges are not equal, okay? There are literally thousands of crypto exchanges in the world, and what's cool about crypto is that you can be trading on that 24/7 exchanges all over the world. And obviously, the more exchanges you list on, the better for the liquidity of your coin. The only difference is all exchanges are not equal, and I give them a ranking from tier 1 to tier 4. So tier 1 are the dream, okay? They're the dream. It's like there are literally around 5 or so major tier 1 exchanges. They have tens of millions of accounts and traders. They have trading volumes every day in the billions. So you look at this, Binance is the largest. It had $23 billion worth of trade in just 24 hours, okay? Now, the other thing I want to point out to you, which I've obviously highlighted, is the number of coins. So as I said before, there is 8,708 coins listed on all the exchanges. But if you look at the big guys, they don't list very many. So you can see Binance only lists 337. Coinbase Pro lists 46. Kraken lists 61. There aren't many coins. So if you want to get these exchanges to get behind you, you literally have to be in the absolute top coins of the marketplace. And the way you get on that is that they want the most traded coins because they're an exchange. They're looking for what is going to excite their traders, so they do trades, so they earn fees. Okay, very, very simple mathematics. So there's tier 1, and you cannot go and just list on tier 1. Okay. They used to, in the old days, allow you to go directly onto a tier 1 exchange. That pretty much doesn't happen anymore, okay? You have to prove yourself on another lower tier exchanges before you get to go on the big guys. So tier 2 exchanges, and these guys are still huge, okay? They are, millions of traders. They have hundreds of millions, if not billions, of daily turnover. And again, I've just highlighted the fact that I've highlighted the fact that also tier 2 exchanges, they don't list a lot of coins either. Look, some of them only have 5 or 50 or a couple of hundred coins of 8,700. So you're talking about less than 2 or 3% of all the coins in the world ever get listed on tier 1 and 2 exchanges. And that's important. And I'll show you why in a second, why it's important, because there are tier 3, and tier 3 are the smaller exchanges. Okay, they're still credible, but they're a lot smaller. All right, and they have sort of literally hundreds of thousands of traders. They've got volumes that are in millions. Some of them actually make tens, if not occasionally hundreds of millions. But the key thing to understand with tier 3 is the vast majority of them, their trading is focused only on the really, really big coins. And this actually is the volume of a very famous Australian exchange. And you can see that the trading is all in the top coins. In fact, 99.4% of all their turnover is in the top 10 coins in the world. And what that means, let's just understand what that means. What that means is that when we as a company are looking to list, we don't really care about these sorts of exchanges, because unless you're in the top 10, they don't care about you. And whilst they can list you, but they may be able to get you a few $1,000s worth of daily turnover. Like, it's very much, who cares? Who cares? I think it's the best thing. Now, there are tier 4, and tier 4 are all the rubbish. And boy, there are a lot of rubbish exchanges. Lots of coins are just sort of listed. They raise money and get thrown on tier 4 exchanges. There's quite a lot of exchanges with very fake volume. So for us, really, there's these 3 tiers of coins, 3 tiers of exchanges, where for us, the focus is always, if we want to be a successful coin, we must be listed on tier 1 and tier 2 exchanges. And there are very few of those. As I said, there's only 5 or 6 tier 1s and maybe 20 to 30 tier 2s. And they know that they're very strong. Okay. So the other thing for us is to just be clear that if we really want to attract the trading volumes, we've got to make sure that we get on the first page of CoinMarketCap, which lists the top 100 coins. Does everyone understand what I just said? Our strategy is designed to make sure we get on that first page. And it's like being on the first page of Google. You don't want to be on the second page of Google. They say that's where the bodies are buried, okay, because no one goes there. All right. So for us, even if we start in the second page of CoinMarketCap, we want to make sure that we get to the first page as fast as we go. It means that we capture the attention of those tens of millions of traders in the world, because you can market to them, specialist marketing, you can educate them with what you're doing. And because of that, you capture their imagination, they start buying, they start selling, creates liquidity, attracts more traders, do you see what I mean? You get into that positive spiral that ensures that your coin then can go as far as it can go, as far as your opportunity. Now, what I need to do is to show you something that I have found very, very few people that even are extremely experienced in the crypto market, that they understand. And this is that to even have a chance of being counted in the top 200 coins of CoinMarketCap, and it's the same in CoinGecko, you have to do something. And I'm going to show you what you have to do. So if you look at this is the bottom end of the first page. So you can see, so coins are ranked by size. So that's 96, 97, 98, 99, 100th largest coin, which is Puni X. And it has a value of 400. It has a market cap of $478 million and a volume of 82 million. It's a great coin. In fact, overnight, that's actually gone up. It's like now over 500 million. The point is that that's the bottom of page 1, okay? This is the bottom of page 2. So the 200th most valuable coin a day or so ago was called library credits. And you can see it has a value of $108 million. Got that? Now keep that $108 million in your head, because this is page 3. That one was 200. This is 201. And 201 is worth $3 billion. Okay, remember, I just want to take you back. So number 200 was 108 million, yet 201 is 3 billion. 202 is 2 billion. 203 is 1.6 billion. And the reason why there's a difference is to be counted in the top 200. What these platforms do is they try and eliminate what can be a manipulation of value. And so if you want to be counted in those top 200 coins, you have to gain credibility first by a list of exchanges. Okay, so if you go onto CoinMarketCap and type in data partners, what that shows is that list there, and that's a list of the of platforms that you must be listed with at least 3 of them. And if you're not listed with 3 of them, you don't get ranked in the top 200. Does everyone understand it? This is a reality that people do not understand. And so what these platforms have done is they have made these major exchanges and analytical organizations, they've made these as the organizations that determine whether a coin gets to be in the attention of the trading organization. Do you understand how that means? And so if you look at that, you can see there's actually only 17 tier 1 and 2 exchanges are actually rated. So not even all of the tier 2 exchanges are actually on that list, and therefore count to whether a coin goes into that top amount. All right. And that's obviously absolutely vital to our listing process, because it means that we must list on a minimum of 3 of those data partners. It's not just a matter of listing on a major tier 2 exchange. They still have to be on that list. And so for us, if you want to gain credibility, if you want to have a coin that is highly valued, if you want to have a coin that is valuable as far as driving your business ecosystem like we have for Dacxi, those are the rules that you have to support. And these are the things that are going to drive it. And what's exciting about us is we've been working for months, and we have gone through the due diligence, and we have agreements from 4 of those exchanges. And that's why we're announcing the listing. That's why, as some people will know, we've had some delays, and we've had some delays because we had to be absolutely certain that we had those agreements. And because we have that, we're now able to go into the process, which means that we can get in the top 200, which means that we can really crack in. And that's where the value comes from, guys. It's like, you know, it gives you the chance. Now, the next point, so look, I can't ask you whether you understand what I just said, because obviously through the chat, but I assume you are, and you can go and rewatch what I've shown before. The second thing I wanted to talk to you about is why we justify being in the top 50, okay? Because if you can't justify it, you won't stay there. Look, it's not a matter of just people going, oh, well, I think that's a cool coin, and yeah, that's an interesting thing. So the next evolution of this industry is when I call the analysts, rather than influencers and commentators, it's when the analysts come in and have a look at the business, and they have a look at niches and say, hey, look, when it comes to the value, is it justified by the demand? Because that's a currency. The only thing that underpins it is demand. And so, you know, people are very confident about Bitcoin because not as a currency, it's too slow, it's too expensive, but as a store of value, it is becoming more credible literally every month. They compare it as a form of digital gold, and gold has a global market cap of $9 trillion because it solves real problems. And so if you take let's say, you know, Bitcoin can get sort of half the value of gold. So it gets $5 trillion worth of value. There's sort of 20 million coins. So divide them into each other, and then you see that, so it justifies a coin price of $250,000. Okay. And that's why, that's US dollars. And that's why when people look at the price today at 50,000 US dollars, even though it's 5 times or 10 times what it was a year ago, they can look at it and go, actually, it still has maybe 4 or 5 times potential growth. And that's why the analysts can talk to their clients and say, hey, look, we think you should buy $100 million worth or $1 billion worth or whatever it is. And it's why you and I should always keep our Bitcoin, because it has such value. So do you understand that? That's how you work out the demand. That's the story that drives your coin. It's the problem that's been solved. It's the opportunity that's been created. And if a coin is not able to very clearly explain that it has value, then it's just nothing. It's nothing. It's a rubbish coin. It doesn't deserve to exist. All right. So look, what I want you to understand, and it's really, really important to get this next point. All right. And that is that when you talk to Dacxi, we show you this graph. We say, hey, look, you know, the second crypto boom is starting. There was the original one, which was in 2017. And now we've got the second wave, because the big financial institutions are all coming into the marketplace, and they want to buy this crypto, and the market's going to boom. They're going to focus on the top coins, because those are the blue chips, and those are the ones that they understand. Okay, so we've been telling that we've been selling that message since 2018, and it's true. Would you agree? So everyone now will look at what we're doing and saying, hey, look, those guys actually, understood what was going to happen, and the people who took our advice and bought the crypto, that was a very smart idea. And people who buy it now, there's still huge legs in that marketplace, and as we heard from the Bitcoin, and therefore you should keep doing it, right? You need to, you know, move more and more of your wealth into this space, because it has great potential, diversification, and that sort of stuff. So we use that graph. But what I want you to understand is that is not the big boom. And so I know that there are some people on this webinar that I explained this to in 2017. This is actually just the first stage, and it's actually the small one. And what this graph here shows, so that first part, that number one, the currencies, those waves. So that's that first part. And the second part is what's called asset tokens. And it's all part of what's called the tokenization of the world. And it's considered to be one of the biggest financial and economic developments the world's ever seen. And where the value of that first wave, the cryptocurrency wave, looks like it'll be $5 to $10 trillion, which is not, if I drew that with numbers, you'll understand it's a big number. The next wave, the tokenization wave, they are saying that it'll be something from $50 to $250 trillion. It literally will be 10 to 25 times bigger than this boom that we're currently in, that's making fortunes for people. The next one's even bigger. And so when you look at this whole tokenization, you know, there are lots of reports. You can look at it online. You can see reports out of Ernst & Young and Deloitte and the OECD, and they all talk about this idea of taking assets, whether they're dollars, loyalty points, whether they're physical ones like automobiles, fine art, precious metals. Dacxi's already done that. You know, consumables like pharmaceuticals, and financial instruments, real estate, equities, bonds, certificates, and just creating a digital representation of that, because it will make it more liquid. It'll make it more valuable. Suddenly the people will be able to participate in the high quality assets that they normally wouldn't. They normally don't get a chance to buy into big buildings or high value cars that appreciate in value. Okay, as this report says, tokenization can turn any asset, whether it's real or virtual, into a digital token, and therefore you can own it, you can trade it, you can send that value. So we're talking patents and copyrights and royalties and licenses. And so that whole space is possible because of this technology that started with Bitcoin, but then evolved. And so a token is a digital representation that sits on this blockchain. So the blockchain is a database that simply records the different values, okay? And so what happens is that, so you tokenize, and the token is launched on the blockchain, and any time that there is a transaction, it must be recorded on this blockchain, okay? And what happens is, to pay for that, they have to pay fees using the native coin to that blockchain. The most famous one is Ethereum. And that's why Ethereum is the second most valuable crypto in the world, worth $200 billion. Now, okay, the price fluctuates a bit, but you understand what I mean. It's an enormously valuable thing because they can see, okay, that the world is going to tokenize, like literally millions, tens and hundreds of millions of tokens. And anytime it moves anywhere, whichever blockchain it sits on, there's going to be fees paid. So obviously the potential fee income and value of those general blockchains is enormous, okay? And that's why, if you look at this graph, this is the total market capitalization of crypto, literally recently. So you can see it's from March 21. So now looking back a year, okay, and you see the crypto market started to rock and roll literally in December, January, and grew dramatically in value, as we've all seen. And the reason why that's happened, if you actually understand the crypto market, is not just because financial institutions have now announced that they're buying into this marketplace. The reality is a lot of financial institutions are just positioning themselves in what they call digital assets. And that's much more than cryptos, currencies. They're only interested in those sort of top cryptocurrencies. What they're really interested in is the tokenization of the world, because that one is much larger. And so the companies that are providing that blockchain-based infrastructure for the tokenization world have skyrocketed in price. And so if that's the sort of top 10 coins in the world, 5 of the top 10 coins in the world are deriving their value from being essentially what we would call blockchain coins, okay? $300 billion worth of value, $300 billion worth of value, $300 billion worth of value. It's huge, huge money. And the reality is that you look at what happens. So this is Cardano, which is now, I think today, the 3rd largest asset in the world. Look at the boom in the value. Like, that's literally in the last few months. And the reason why it's boomed is because people went, holy hell, this tokenization revolution is going to be massive. That's Polkadot. Came from nothing to be one of the top 10 coins. Again, it's been driven by that. And the real story is Binance coin. So Binance is the world's largest exchange, and they have an exchange coin which was worth, I don't know, between $1 and $2 billion in value. Suddenly, literally in January this year, they announced that their blockchain where people have to pay fees, and their Binance coin had started to gain acceleration. And suddenly people realized that Binance, not only did it have a core blockchain, but it had the marketing ability to then put tokens on the blockchain, and it grew by 25 times in literally a few weeks to become, actually, it was, for a point, there was the number 3 coin in the world after Bitcoin and Ethereum. So do you get my point? Number 1 point, the tokenization wave is actually the big boy in this market. It's where the really big money is going to be. And the key thing is the real beneficiaries of this are those that are providing the blockchain infrastructure infrastructure. It's like the dot-com boom. Everyone thought it was about internet stocks. It wasn't. It was about the companies that were providing the infrastructure for the internet revolution, which then boomed after that, okay? And so when we look at this thing, you got to understand that I attended the world's first token conference in New York in May 2017. There's a wonderful picture of me at the Token Summit, as you can see it, New York 2017. And I sat there and watched them explain the tokenized economy. And I sat there and went, this is the big one. And within 30 days, I had created Dacxi. And Dacxi has always been designed to lead the token boom. So today, look, we welcome, we want people to buy cryptocurrency, but we didn't. It's why we don't have these big exchanges and all that sort of stuff. That looks big, that looks like big business and all this sort of stuff. It's great, but it's not as big as the token world. And when you look at real value, for me, it was so important to have a business that was based on real assets and real customers getting real value. I could see that the token economy, as you put it, with the people, not financial institutions who will dominate, with the people, that was a massive niche that we can develop. But we've got to have a business that is very unique and is designed to bring the people to the token economy. And so I call that world, which has these potential investments, I call those crypto wealth. Okay, this is a crypto wealth area because it's about people like you building your wealth through crypto technology, with the first opportunity being in currencies, which is what we talk about now, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, all right? It's making your money through those blue chips. But the next evolution is to introduce these opportunities to build wealth based on the token economy. So they're tokenizing every share in the world. So suddenly the world will be so much easier to buy and sell these major currencies, which may be easy for someone in the UK, but with all due respect to the UK, it's only 60 million people, and there's 7 billion people in the world. Suddenly they're going to be able to buy these high quality assets. And look, equities is a $90 trillion industry. The commoditization of things like gold, we already do that, but that's a $9 trillion industry. The fractional assets like property, so you'll be able to take big buildings, tokenize them, so the people suddenly can buy into and own part of a large building, because that is a great wealth asset to own. The property market is a $300 trillion industry. Bonds, so lending, okay, we can tokenize lending. So we can do a form of crowd lending using tokens. That's a $100 trillion industry. There's all of these intellectual property royalty streams. So things like John Lennon's music back catalog, which obviously is worth a hell of a lot of money, but you could own a percentage of that. It provides income, it could provide capital value. And lastly, obviously, the thing that I always talk about is the tokenization of crowdfunding. It's a revolution in the way that we fund innovation across the world. Literally, that's changed the world's stuff. And that is a $1 trillion market. And so when you look at the crypto wealth niche, and what I mean by that is what is the people, what will they invest in, rather than the big financial institutions who of course are going to dominate this. What are they looking at? And so we as a company, this niche that we focused on, obviously it's cryptocurrencies first. There's a good couple of years there. There's huge money to be made in this area. And then you've got the next evolution into the tokenized opportunity, which is why, and that could be worth $10 trillion by 2030. I think the whole market will be worth a hell of a lot more than that, but it'll be focused very much around the big financial institutions, but for the people, okay? That's what we're talking about, the people like you. Been getting new opportunities that can build your wealth. That's why we're so excited about Dacxi. That's why we operate differently from everyone else. And what's just cool is over the last few months, people have suddenly realized that, and the whole buzz around the tokenized economy is really, really coming into play. So we have designed a business which, as we know, has the Dacxi coin, and that Dacxi coin is based on building wealth, and it gets its value through its use. And the first use area, which is as a community currency, for the currency for our community to as incentives to get customers. So you buy a bundle, you get some DAC coin, right? Okay. Partner incentives, same thing, as a currency for us to be able to have a global partner organization. In the future, we can have e-commerce, and which is like a form of air points, using the coin to be able to access special benefits. And lastly is staff incentives. And for us, we already use that. It has great value. Who knows how much coin will be required to provide those benefits, but it could be like $1 billion. Okay, it has the potential value to be able to do that. And there's one use case that will drive the value. Okay, the second use case is as an exchange currency, and there already are exchange currencies, a Binance coin and a Voyager coin and a Huobi coin, and so the exchanges have their own coin, which is going to be used as benefits on the exchange. We will be launching what we call the venture exchanges. We have all the technology, it's all ready to go. It's just the time is not right. So coming next year, we'll be launching these venture secondary markets, they're called. And the Dacxi coin will be used on those platforms, just like the exchange coins do. And hey, there's a whole lot of exchange coins that are like worth more than $1 trillion, more than $1 billion. Okay, so obviously that has huge potential as far as the value of our coin. Now, the last one that we normally talk about is what we call the innovation currency. And so what we're saying is that we use the Dacxi coin to create and facilitate the global funding of innovation. It's this tokenized crowdfunding, where basically what happens is that we as a company, if you don't know anything about Dacxi, what we as a company are doing is we create a crypto wealth platform in a country like the UK, right? And so that operates as an independent licensee. The UK one will even be listed on the stock market, and it looks after that crypto wealth opportunity in the UK, which it was frankly is a $100 billion opportunity. Okay, but what we do is we put all of those platforms on one global technology platform. It ensures that we can link them all together, and therefore we're able to create a token in one country to fund an opportunity, but then people can invest in that opportunity anywhere in the world. Okay, and what it means is that we can literally revolutionize innovation funding. Okay, because suddenly a really, really good idea out of Poland can be funded all around the world, or Pakistan can be funded all around the world, or Indonesia all around the world. So long as you believe that people are smart and entrepreneurial and trustworthy everywhere in the world, which is what we do, then hey, this technology allows us to literally revolutionize that. And we need a currency that allows us in that ecosystem to be able to do that. Now, that whole market is potentially a $1 trillion market. And therefore, not all of the money that will be taken will be in a specific currency, but it creates a potential for literally, I don't know, tens of billions of dollars worth of coins, of which we hope they'll be Dacxi coin. And so when we talk about the story, or where the value for the Dacxi coin comes from, this is what we say: until today. And now I want to explain something that we've had in our back pocket for a long time, and we never talked about it because the time wasn't right. And now I want to explain what we're doing. As I said, we're going to have these crypto wealth platforms all over the world. Okay, we talk about Australia and the UK at the moment, but going into the second half of this year, we'll be launching platforms covering 100 countries of the world. And then next year, we're going to license them all. So we suddenly will have this global network. We've been working on this technology literally for 3 years. It's very, very unique. And what it means is that in each of these countries, that country can be launched tokens, and they can be launched tokens. And Brazil can be launched tokens, and Indonesia can be launching tokens. And when you imagine how big the world is, you can imagine the number of tokens that'll be launched, okay? And what I want to tell you is that these will be launched on Dacxi's own blockchain. So currently, people are thinking, oh, well, we launch a token, and they say, oh, well, I suppose you're going to put it on Ethereum. Well, I can tell you we're not. We're going to have our own blockchain, and it's called Dacxi Chain. And what's different about that, it will become the platform for our global platform, not just the innovation. Everything else that we do will be based actually on the Dacxi chain. And when you imagine, like Binance, we are one of the few organizations that will have a global marketing organization. So everywhere in the world, there will be organizations turning around and saying, you want to raise money, come through the Dacxi organization. What we need to do is to create a token, okay, a token for you. We want to tokenize that patent. We want to tokenize that innovative company. We want to tokenize that lending, and all of them go on to get put onto the Dacxi chain. And anytime anyone, anywhere in the world does a transaction, they have to pay fees, and those fees are paid in Dacxi coin. Got it? So the Dacxi chain is the world's specialist crypto wealth blockchain using literally the next generation technology. Remember, as a company, we have the knowledge. Our dev teams have created tokens already. They've created blockchains already. Our guys know all of that stuff. We have a very, very sophisticated development team, okay? And that will allow this Dacxi, the Dacxi coin to provide instant, low-fee global transactions, okay, internally within our organization, because every token and every transaction happens on the Dacxi, on the Dacxi chain, okay? Literally, it has the potential for billions of transactions, every week, perhaps every day. And all the fees are paid for Dacxi coin. So it now essentially becomes the Ethereum of the crypto wealth world, okay? And this chain obviously will be launched next year when we're rolling out this global network. It'll all be based on the Dacxi chain, and it's a very unique thing for our organization. And when you imagine the power of that use case to really transform not only the community currency, the exchange currency, and the innovation currency as a blockchain currency, it has huge potential, which is why some of you personally that have known me for a few years, I've always talked so confidently about the potential value of our currency. And you'll know those, I've never talked about that. And the reason is that I've always kept it to myself, because I knew there would come a time when the market would understand this. And it does now. In the last few months, suddenly everyone's talking about tokenization. Everyone's talking about, so these blockchain-based currencies, blockchain-based coins must be enormously valuable. And then they're going to realize that, hey, not only do you have to have the technology, you've got to have the ability to market those tokens, to actually bring tokens and put them on the Dacxi, on the blockchain. And we are one of literally the few organizations that will have the global reach, knowledge, and credibility to be able to do that. And that's why I want you to understand a concept, guys. And this is especially for those of you that have owned Dacxi coin for a few years. And you're looking at this listing as the finish line. It's not. If you really want to get the value out of this, owning these coins, you need to appreciate that the real value driver will be happening by the end of this year and into next year. That's when the market will really understand what we're doing, and will have the listings and the liquidity and the marketing profile that people will go, hey, I really want to catapult this company. We have the potential literally to be a top 10 coin. So we're talking about our goal, which is very ambitious for most people, is to make top 50. But hey, what we've been doing over the last 4 years has literally just been pre-launch. That's why we've been calling it pre-launch, okay? And so the listing is just setting us up to ensure that we can capture that value. So Dacxi as an organization essentially is launching next year, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to lead this crypto wealth tokenization space for the public. Now, to do that, obviously, we need to list, and it's not just a listing. Okay, people who don't understand what we're talking about, they worry, they panic, and they go, "Oh, I need to get, I need to see the listing, so I need to be able to sell my coins." Please don't do that. Okay, please don't do that. So let's understand things. We're listing because the market is right for us to do it. I've had so many people trying to push me to list this coin. Okay, and I refuse to do it until the timing is right, because this is not some rubbish scam coin. This is a thing that has real value, that will have value in 10 years and 20 years. Okay, so it's important for us to wait until the market evolves, not just in enthusiasm, but also to understand this tokenization way. So us as an organization, our goal is to have a top 50 coin by the end of this year. Okay, and then it's to launch this whole area to make sure that there is the user demand to validate the value, the market capitalization of this coin. Otherwise, it's just rubbish. Okay, so our process is this: we have to do it in stages. The first listing is what we call a soft launch or a pre-launch. Okay, the market demands is, remember what I was talking about at the start, the market demands that we just get on a tier 3 exchange. We have signed the deal with a company. This exchange is based in Estonia. It's called Crex24, and we'll be listing on the 29th of April. Okay, and then the coin essentially will be externally listed. The only difference is this is a small exchange. Okay, and Estonia works for us because we have an office in Estonia. We have a European Union crypto license based, issued from Estonia. Estonia is a very credible crypto market. Okay, they're very hard regulatory organizations, harder than other countries, harder than Singapore or the UK, if you'd like to know. And it's important. So that'll be the first one. All right. So next, then what we do is that we are doing the foundation stage. So in June and July, we expect to list on 4 tier 2 exchanges. 4. And we're doing 4 because we don't want there to be a problem. Okay, anyway. So we're listing on 4 tier 2 exchanges, and that will obviously qualify us to be able to be listed on the top 200 coins on CoinMarketCap. Because remember, strategically, that's what we need to do. Okay. But, and there's a huge but, the real important thing is for us is then later on. So later on the year, as part of literally a 9-month marketing process, okay, we expect to create the liquidity and turnover whereby tier 1 exchanges embrace the Dacxi coin and list them. And that's how you really get access to all of to the real trading market. And with the launch, don't forget, it'll be literally a new exchange being launched every week, and the whole story around the Dacxi chain and innovation and all of that sort of stuff is really going to be pumped into that market. So the market will understand that we have a very specific niche. We're the world leader. We're like 12 months ahead of any potential organization. And that's when all the price action will happen. Do you understand? That's when the price action will happen. And we want you to focus on that and understand that all the stuff that we're doing, we just want you to help us get to that point. And that's when you look at liquidating what you do. So for us, we know that people are going to go, yeah, but which are those 4 exchanges, the 4 big ones that you're listing on? We cannot tell you. We're legally not allowed to tell you, because the way these exchanges work is that they have to do the announcement, which happens 2 weeks before the listing. Okay, and they do that because of the problems that they've had in the past, and also they want to ensure that their people benefit from the launch. Okay, does that make sense? And so it's not something that was decided by us. We have NDAs, and if we ever release the location, you know, who those exchanges were, you know, they could run, you know, we literally could get our listings cancelled, and obviously we don't want to do that. We already paid a lot of money towards the whole process. But you know, 2 of these exchanges are in the top 10 exchanges in the world. Okay, but they're all tier 2 exchanges, and they're all on that list of data exchange. But combined, if you combine all of the customer bases, you're talking more than 10 million trading customers, you're talking more than 5 billion daily volume. You know, we're like creating a major sort of things, which for us is the foundation, because obviously we want to list on other markets. For us as a company, we are going to be very, very much focused. A team is going to be focused on building that community and that engagement and that education of the crypto trader market. That is not the market that we're in, okay? This is a new market. It's educating the traders. If you've had involvement in that, please talk to us, because we need to get into that market with a community and a positive message. And you know, we will have literally $1 million marketing campaign into that organization to ensure we support the listing. So people will, you know, I think the vast majority of people that are on this, that are watching this, they're just wondering, when do I sell? I just want to talk to you about the Bitcoin blunder. And I call it that because I cannot tell you how many people I've met who turn around and go, oh, you know, oh, Bitcoin, you're in crypto. Oh, I bought Bitcoin. Oh, okay. Well, what price? Oh, I bought it for 4,000. And okay, well, you know, well, that's great. When you see the price, oh no, I sold it at 12,000. Oh, well, you made a profit. And they go, yeah. And they kick themselves because they were told that the real value was going to be like $100,000 a coin or $250,000 a coin. And they got scared and they sold early. And, you know, you see that at 12,000 on that chart. Well, actually, only a few weeks later, it was at 50,000, and those people are kicking themselves. And even then, you know, people are not selling Bitcoin now because they now are believing that story that it can go to a couple of 100,000, 300,000, 500,000, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's going to go up a lot. So people are not selling Bitcoin because they're, you know, because they understand the story. And it's the same for us. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's the same for us. It's like people saying, oh, you know, when they're listing on those first tier 1, tier 2 exchanges, I'm going to sell. And we're just going to go, oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that. We can't give you advice. If you want to do it, fine. You know, it's fine. But we're just saying, hey, look, please understand the vision of what we're doing. Please understand what we're doing. We've got the first listing, you know, as I said, 29th of April. Then the foundational ones, all the big boys come in June, July. And then we have this whole big marketing and education process of the global trading world to ensure that they support what we're doing, such that we can get real price expansion. As I said, this coin can be top 50. It could actually be top 10. If you're doing that, you're talking about, you know, potential price action that will make anyone and everyone excited about what they're doing. Now, because of that listing in April, obviously we need to change things. So there will be a price increase of 20% on the 30th of March, and the DAC Pack will stop on the 30th of March, okay? So you will not be able to buy Dacxi coins in that sort of DAC Pack opportunity after the 30th of March. Now, I can't tell you what the price for the listing in April is, because that is something which is negotiated and agreed with the exchange much closer to the time. But obviously, it's not going to be any less than the price increase. So obviously, we've designed it to make sure that all of that fits in. And guys, sort of lastly, please focus on price expansion. So focus on the future. Understand that what you're seeing at the moment is just literally the start of the growth of what we're doing. All right. Does that make sense to everyone? I'm really, really sorry that this went on. It only went on obviously because there was a fire alarm in our building and I had to rush off to a different location. I hope the information that I've delivered is valuable. okay, I hope you will understand that what we're doing is something very unique. I hope one day you will look at it and go, hey, I remember in March, and when it was right back in 2021, when they were talking about it and explaining where the value is. And for us, it's a matter of, this is literally just the start. If you can buy now, then that is hopefully an amazing opportunity. I have given you a lot of detail, and there is a reason why I've given you a lot of detail. It's because I think it's so vital that you understand what the thinking is, because people don't understand. And because they don't understand, they make silly short-term decisions, okay? And because of that, we believe that what we're doing has a future, okay? Now, I am not, Rebecca's asking me, like a lot of people do, what do I think the coin will be worth, okay, by the end of the year? Obviously, I'm not allowed to give any of those sort of questions, all right? I appreciate that you're asking the questions, but I'm not allowed to say it. Needless to say, obviously, when you hear about what our target is, have a look what a top 40 coin is worth and double it. What's the market capitalization? Because that's for us. For us, it's actually not even price. My only focus is to create liquidity, because it's liquidity that delivers value to an asset, okay? That's the goal. And any of you that are trained in any sort of financial services or shares or property or any of that sort of stuff, you will know that what I'm talking about is the key thing, okay? And so Scott, again, at the end of 2021, 22, I cannot give you a value. I will never give you a value. It would be totally inappropriate for me to be talking like that. And but anyone, like some of you know, and you can say it in another location, don't say it now, but know that I've talked about, when people have asked me that, I've given a value which some people were shocked at how high it was. In reality, we could be 10 times that. Because when you really appreciate the scale of the tokenization economy, and that the niche side could literally be a $10 trillion market. And we are so far ahead of our competitors. We literally are, on a technology basis, 12 months ahead of everyone else. And we are accelerating at a pace that organizations can only really keep up with. And we feel that we will have the business model that everyone else will try and fight to copy, because it is so powerful. And that's why I'm launching the Dacxi chain now. That's why I haven't talked about it in the future. It's why we haven't done a big, global marketing all the time, trying to sell what we're doing. The reason is that if you know anything about strategy, the smart thing is to position yourself first. You position yourself ahead of the wave. So when the wave comes, you're in the best position to catch the wave. Okay? And yes, this is a game changer. This is the sort of stuff we have always been designed to make things change. And I've had people laugh with me before. This is in the UK. Look, when I founded Telecom Plus, which is now known as Utility Warehouse, I cannot tell you how many people told me I was wrong. I cannot tell you how many people told me that the whole philosophy around it, oh, you're too conservative, oh, blah, 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 blah. Well, hey, because of the structures that I put in place in 1997, the entrepreneurial listing that we did in 1997 was the first ever idea-based listing in European history, okay, which I led and I did all the marketing for and all of the sales process. And the value was for those shares was about 30p. Okay, they're now 15 quid. And the reason is because the value came in, but it didn't come in actually for 2 or 3 years after that initial listing. And that's what you got to do. You've got to have confidence and trust that this thing is smart to truly realize the value. You don't want to be that person who bought Bitcoin for 4,000 and sold 12,000 and now looks at it and kicked themselves because they lost their confidence and acted too early. Okay, so guys, look, I really, really appreciate everything that you do. I really appreciate those people that have had the faith with me, especially to my shout out to my buddy Gav and Dave and that sort of stuff, who have been believed in what we've said for, you know, literally since 2017, which a whole lot of people have said, oh, it's a load of rubbish, it's going to, you know, it's some sort of scammy rubbish, it'll never exist. And now I know that you have a smile on your face because you trusted that I would deliver what we're doing, and I hope you look at what we're doing and going, holy hell, this guy really will, you know, really has got the sort of things to make sure that we do that. But I now am reliant on everyone else, and I'm so excited about the UK. You know, Catherine, Gareth, and Andy, and Lena, Tara, who are supporting that organisation there. You know, you got to understand, we have 50% month-on-month growth. It's very, very challenging, but they've created it. You know, when you look at the brand positioning and the marketing positioning that we're having in the marketplace, it's not an accident. We've been working on it for a long time. Big shout out to Kevin, who's the PR genius behind what we're doing and supporting Catherine and things. We, you know, as I said, it's not an accident. We worked on it. So some of you guys like the Bens and Nickies and Laurie's will know that I was talking about these sort of things in 2019. And it's just, it's logical if you step back and have a look at it. It really is. It's not that visionary, okay? It's just logical. You just have to get rid of a lot of your stuff. So, so the big focus, guys, is the month of March. Okay, it's the month of March. Is to make sure that yourself and everyone gets the chance to be involved in this sort of thing, and you learn about what we're doing. The more you understand about what we're doing, the more exciting you will be. The more you'll understand that you are literally at the head of the curve. You're getting inside the organization normally before the public ever get to see inside an organization. Normally that is, you out of nowhere, you hear about this new business, new coin being listed on a market, and then you hear it. You guys are just getting the chance to get in early. That's the fact. And we're not, you know, you notice we're not advertising in newspapers and all this sort of stuff. We're not. It's just friends telling friends, okay? And that works for us because, you know, we're a well-run company, we're profitable, we're cash flow positive, we're growing dramatically. Our staff numbers are doubling every 90 days. But at our core is a very clear mission, very strong strategy, and really, really good people and technology. And that's how you win. And that's how you're able to scale from what is small to something that's massive. And so I really appreciate your time. Catherine, are you there? Thank you. As I said, I really apologize for the alarm in my office. It's like, oh dear, you do laugh, you really laugh, but there we go. Hey, that's cool. And as far as our business is concerned, you know, we've been working on this for a long time, so you know, something like that is not going to throw us. And I hope listen to this information. We'll send out an email today that'll have some of those core details and a video and that sort of stuff explaining some basic things. But if you do have any questions, make sure you ask them, because I want you to really get confident about what we're doing. Be convinced that we have a fantastic future, and work with Catherine and Gareth and crowd to really make this thing work for you.